Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? Now I'm going to run some quick tests just to make sure that everything is working. And, sorry. Where's my microphone? Can you guys hear me? Oh, in companion mode. How do I how do I get out of this companion mode? Mm, can you guys hear me? If you guys can you hear me? Mm, doesn't look like you guys can hear me. The settings, general. How do I get out of this companion mode? Ah, host management. How can I get this to work? Just a second, guys. Yeah, I think now is better. Can you guys hear me now? Hopefully. Yeah, good. Thank you. I don't know what happened, but where is that? Just going to change a few things here. Yep. Yeah, I think now it's better. If you guys can hear me, it's all good. See if in Instagram you guys can hear me as well. Yeah, I think Instagram is all good. And I think YouTube today, it's all good as well. Hear me as well. Yeah, YouTube is all good as well. Thanks, Carlos, in YouTube. You can hear me. If you want to join the Google Meet, I'll put the link in the chat, Carlos, in the YouTube, so you can join Google Meet, and those ones in Instagram as well. You can join. You can join in Google Meet with the link. All right. So sorry for the short delay. I figured out what happened, which is all good now. So how you guys doing? Had a busy Tuesday. So it looks like everybody had a very busy Tuesday. Yeah. So without further ado, I will share my PowerPoint presentation. And then we'll get to the content. We got a lot of content today, and it's important that we cover everything. All right. Where is my? All right. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to live number 2 of the workshop Engineer Journey 2025. And thanks for those ones that came last night and came back today. That is a good thing for you, for everybody, because looks like you are committed, and engagement and commitment is obviously one of the ingredients for a successful recognition as an engineer in Australia. So thank you very much, guys, for attending live number 2. So just like to remind you guys that tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to be giving away 15 minutes of free consulting about the validation process. And to be able to win, or to have a chance to win, is very easy. You just need to go to my Instagram post. For those ones that haven't done yet, you just need to go to this post here in my profile. The QR code will take you to the post. Very easy. You just need to like the post, follow my profile, mark an engineer in the comments, and write in the comments, I will become an engineer in Australia. That's a positive message to yourself. As I said yesterday, There will be a lot of conflicts, a lot of conflicting objectives, procrastination as well. So you need to put the positive message in your brain. Every time that you are reluctant to perhaps go forward with your validation, and writing your reports, you got to think about your final objective, which is to become an engineer in Australia, perhaps apply for a permanent visa here in Australia, become an Australian citizen, work as an engineer, and live in Australia. So, if that is your goal, it's very important that you put the positive message. Even in some other workshops, I ask people to write in a post-it note, I want to become an engineer, or I will become an engineer in Australia, in a post-it note, put on the door fridge, in the fridge door, or in a place that you see every day, and that will keep reminding you about your objective. And then tomorrow you need to be present during live 3, which is our last live session of the workshop. And then during the live session, I will be doing the draw, and I'll load all the comments in a software or a website that will do the draw. And then the software or the website will pick somebody. I will check if the person did everything of the challenge. And if the person did, the person will be obviously the happy winner of the 15 minutes of free consulting. And then I will schedule the free consulting probably sometime next week, early next week, during an Instagram live session. And then we will be having a chat, a conversation live in Instagram, where others also can benefit from the information that we're going to share. That's the only condition. You win the 15 minutes free consulting, but you got to be doing that together with me during a live Instagram session. So what did we see last night? Just a second, I'm just going to just take this one. So what did we see last night? For those ones that were here last night, we saw the opportunity for life transformation. Becoming an engineer in Australia will make you eligible for many visas, especially the skilled visas, to become a permanent resident in Australia. And becoming a permanent resident, if that is your dream, it is going to be a life transformation. It was a life transformation for myself, my wife, and my daughter that was born here. And it can be your life transformation as well. We also saw the different pathways to validate your engineering qualification according to the country that you validated and according to the year that you validated as well. So I can recognize some of you from yesterday, but some other ones, I think it's your first day tonight. So if you can put in the comments, please, what's your name, where are you from, what's your engineering field, and where are you now? So we can break the ice and start engaging as well. So I'll participate because I'm going to engage as well. So Gerson Ida, and Gerson Ida from Curitiba, Brazil, civil engineer, living in Brisbane. So that's myself. So let's see where you guys from and what field of engineering, while we see what we did yesterday. So yesterday also we saw the 6 steps for the CDR process, the competency demonstration report. Competency demonstration report, obviously, it's the pathway for those ones, majority of engineers in the world. The International Engineering Alliance has about, I think, 25 countries that they are full signatories of the International Engineering Alliance. And I think in the world there are some 200 countries. So every single of the 175 countries thereabouts, they will have to do the CDR pathway, the competency demonstration report. And that's how what we started seeing yesterday, the 6 steps for the CDR process. And today we're going to see the different types of reports that you need to do so you can apply for your validation process under the CDR pathway. As I said yesterday, the process is very simple, just 6 steps. But unfortunately, it's not easy because there's a lot of organization, there's a lot of report writing and documentation that you need to gather. So it is difficult in a way, especially as engineers that, I don't know you guys, but I don't really like too much to write reports. But because of work, because of the validation process, I had to learn how to write good reports. And because of my work, I have to write good reports as well. So, but not that I like it, not that I'm good at writing reports. I have to learn and I develop some techniques so I can write good reports. That's why it's difficult for me because it's not really natural. So we discussed about the International Engineering Alliance. We talked about the Washington Accord for professional engineers. We talked about the Sydney Accord for engineering technologists. And we talked about the Dublin Accord for engineering associates or technicians. And we also covered the risks of plagiarism. And again, we will reinforce, you guys are all adults, you know what you want to do, you know the risks. Last night, I just explained to you the risks of being caught by plagiarism. Engineers Australia, they have a very advanced software to detect plagiarism. And if they catch you, you will probably going to get a banning period up to 3 years. And what does that mean again? It means that if you get a banning period of 3 years, it means that you have to wait 3 years until you can apply again to recognize your engineering qualification. In the meantime, you need to sort out what you're going to do, especially if you are here, if you're accounting to get the validation so you could apply for a permanent visa and be on a bridging visa. But if you cannot apply for the visa because you didn't get your validation and you have to wait 3 years, are you going to apply for another student visa? Remembering that the government now is rejecting a lot more of the student visa. So it can be really, really dangerous. But you guys know what you guys want to do. If you want to go to the easy way, it's a risk that you take. Is up to you. And what are we going to see tonight in live number 2? We're going to quickly go through the migration skills assessment booklet. We're going to start looking at the CPD, the continuing professional development, which is the first type of report that you need to write. We're going to see the career episodes, which is a second type of report that you need to write as well. And we're going to see the summary statement, the third type of report that you need to write. And that's it. The validation process is about you having your English test with your minimum scores and then writing reports. You have to write 1 CPD, continuing professional development, 3 career episodes, and 1 summary statement. So a total of 5 reports that you need to write in order to apply for your validation process. And also we're going to talk about the Engineers Australia internal review processes. In case if your application is not successful and if you want to ask for revision or appeal, we're going to talk about it as well. So the Migration Skills Assessment booklet. It's your bedside reading book. And I mention this to everybody. You will have to read once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times. And when I say 10 times, it's really 10 times. You will need to read everything word by word, especially now that there's lots of links. You have to open every single link and understand everything in that booklet. If you don't read the booklet and if you don't understand everything in the booklet, you run the risk of doing something wrong because you haven't read the booklet. And one thing that assessors, they hate the most is when you submit something which is going against the booklet, because it shows that you didn't really care about reading the booklet. And then the assessor, they think, why do I need to care about this application if the candidate didn't even care to read the booklet? Because some of the mistakes that some engineers, they do, they're so basic. They're so basic that it really shows that the engineers didn't really read the booklet. And that annoys the assessors a lot. Again, read 5, 10 times, and that's no joking. You will need to read a lot. Understand each section of the booklet. And I'm going to open the website and quickly show how you get the booklet. So, Carlos, you've got your hand raised. Do you want to ask something or no? All right. All right, so when you go to Engineers Australia website, you go to menu, and then for migrants, migration skills assessment, and then view all migration skills assessment. And then you go to the migration skills assessment, and then you go there. This is quite interesting. There's actually a quiz as well to choose the pathway. So let's choose somebody. Let me have a look at the chat. Yeah, we got Luis Plina Ferreira, civil engineer living in Brasilia. Brazil, Jonathan Kalina from Philippines, electrical engineer. All right. Yolande Blandão, Colombia, petroleum engineer, mechanical engineer living in Vitória. Guilherme Devair, mechanical engineer, São Paulo, Brazil. Carlos, civil engineer from Colombia, living in Brisbane. Manish, yes, these are the requirements need for skills assessment. Yeah, that's correct, Manish. All right, so let's select some qualifications here. let's say I saw somebody from Philippines. The Philippines can be a bit Jonathan. So Jonathan, he's from Philippines, and Philippines is a full signatory of the Washington Accord. So the question that I ask you, Jonathan, when did you graduate? What year did you graduate? Can you put in the comments? And then we can have a look. And see the Washington Accord. Is Jonathan still there? If we have a look at the International Engineering Alliance in the Washington Accord, so that's a Washington Accord.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Jonathan. Yes, I can.
I just cannot access the chat board on my phone.
All right, now that's okay. So when did you graduate? What year did you graduate?
With regards to my electrical engineering degree, it's around 2005.
2005. Okay.
Yes.
So you can see that the Washington Accord, the signatories, these are the list of the full signatories. So if you are, like I said yesterday, one of those countries, and you graduated on or after the year that the country became a full signatory, you are eligible to apply under the Washington Accord. So for example, Jonathan, he's from Philippines. And Philippines, represented by the Philippine Technological Council, became a full signatory in 2023. So recognition date as full signatory status applies from 2023 to Tier 1 programs defined, etc., etc., etc. So that means, Jonathan, because you graduated back in 2005, it was before Philippines became a full signatory. So even though Philippines is a full signatory of the accord, but because you graduated before the country became a full signatory, you will need to follow the CDR pathway.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see that these are the countries that I said yesterday. They have provisional status: Chile, Thailand, Myanmar, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, and Mauritius. So while they are provisional status, those engineers still need to apply under the CDR. So if you go back to the Engineers Australia, my qualification obtained the same year or after the country became a signatory to the relevant accord. So in Jonathan's case, it's going to be no. So next, I want to be assessed according to degree, title, and course content. Yes. So in that case, apply under the competency demonstration report. So yeah, we knew that, but that's a tool that Engineers Australia has to help you. But the booklet you'll find under the prepare your application. And then there's a link here, prepare your migration skills assessment application. And there's a PDF here, prepare your migration skills assessment application PDF document. So once you open that, it will open the booklet. And the booklet is from July 2022. So that is the updated version, the most updated version. And you got to read everything. And pay attention that on page 1, they talk about the ethical standards. And that's where they talk that plagiarism means presenting work completed by others as your own or copying other people's words. So, and they talk about this banning period of 12, 24, or 36 months. So you go there, and then the English language requirements. You can do both either the IELTS, TOEFL, or PTE. And there are the scores that you need to get in each of those tests. And there's some exemptions there. If you meet those criteria, you can apply for a test exemption. You can combine tests, as I mentioned yesterday. If you didn't get all the bands, you can sit another test, same type, but another test, and then combine the tests. And then, obviously, if you're going to do the CDR, here are going to be all the things that you need to know. The categories, the documentation that we saw yesterday, all the personal documents, the reports, copies, translation, scan, details. It talks about then the career episode, the summary statement that you're going to see today. And it talks about also the other types of assessments that Engineers Australia they do. They do obviously the assessment of your PhD. They do your RSEA, the Relevant Skilled Employment Assessment, and the reference letter, as I mentioned yesterday, what needs to be in the letter. So if you're going to do RSEA, there's a secondary document that usually is a migration agent that helps you with that. It talks about if you are self-employed or if you're the owner of the company. It gives you all of that. But please note that there are lots and lots of links. So it's important that you read all of those links or open those links and read very carefully. Okay? All right, so a quick tutorial about the Migration Skills Assessment booklet. So the first report that you need to do is your CPD, your Continuing Professional Development. And why is that important for you to do your CPD? Especially for those engineers like me that we graduated long time ago. Engineers Australia wants to know that after your graduation, which means you can just consider CPD events, your learning and your training after you graduated. Engineers Australia wants to know that after you graduated, how did you go with your professional development? How did you keep yourself up to date with technology, with innovation, with the challenges in your career? And it doesn't need to be just training. As the name says, CPD, Continuing Professional Development. And professional development is not just training. It can be different things. And I'm going to explore here the types of different things or what we call CPD events that you can use in your CPD report. First of all, it's an A4 format list or table. I usually recommend you, if you haven't done, please do it now. Create a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet with 5 columns. Very easy, 5 columns. First column is your title. Second column, date. Third column, duration. Fourth column, venue. And fifth column, organizer. And every time that you remember about something that you've done, write it down in the row. if you're doing, let's say, if you attend a webinar from Engineers Australia, write it down. Don't wait to do in 2, 3, 4 months time, because you will forget about it. Do it now, because then you don't forget. If you read a technical specification, if you read a technical magazine or book, if you study safety legislation, environmental legislation, if you do something else, write in your list, in your table, so you don't forget it. So what are the things that you can use as your CPD event? First of all, post-graduation courses. It can be a specialization course, a master's degree, even the courses, if you came to Australia, for example, to study English, or even a diploma or a Cert 4, Cert 3, could be business, could be project management, could be those related disciplines to your engineering degree. You can use that as one line of your CPD. Conferences as presenter or participant. So if you attended a conference as a presenter or a participant, you can include that in your CPD. Workshops, courses, seminars, discussion groups, technical inspections, technical visits. You can also use as CPD if you learned something, if you developed your professional knowledge with something. Even a site visit. Sometimes during a site visit, you learn something and you discuss that with another engineer, or you discuss that with a supplier, you discuss that with another professional on site, and you can capture that as a professional learning as well. Preparation, presentation of course material, conferences, and symposiums. Even in the workplace, if you, let's say that you delivered a project, an engineering project, and then towards the end, you present your finalization report with learnings from the project. And that type of learning, even the finalization report, you can use as your CPD as well, because you've learned something, you've improved your professional skills. Services to the engineering profession. This is usually voluntary work. If you participate in some committees or some boards, for example, myself, I participate as industry peer review of engineers wanting to become a chartered professional engineer. I attend interviews with Engineers Australia as well. And for that, I need to read their career episodes. I need to think about questions. I attend the interview. I ask questions to the engineers, or sometimes it's all desktop assessment. I read the reports, and then I kind of say yes or no. I can ask questions if I need as well. It's all voluntary. I put my hand up to participate, and I get a letter from Engineers Australia that I can use 3, 4, 5 hours of CPD because I volunteered to be a panel member in the CPA Chartered Professional Engineer Assessment. Private study, it's probably the one that you're probably going to use the most. And that includes reading technical books, journals, manuals, magazines, specification, legislation, participating in webinars. Engineers Australia, for example, they have lots and lots of webinars, and a lot of those webinars are for free. I will show you where you can find those ones. If you go to the Engineers Australia website again, go to the menu, and then learning and events. Events, webinars, and courses. So here you have lots and lots of events. So let's say here to see if we can find one event which is free. Let's have a look at this one. Human factors in cyber engineering. Yeah, it's got a description there. For those that are members, it's free. For those that are non-member, it costs $30. And you get 1 hour of CPD. But there are some that they are free. Let's see if we can find some that are free. Let's have a look. Yeah, this one is certainly for free. Pathways to becoming a registered engineer. So as you may or may not know, Australia, in some states, they are now becoming mandatory for registration of engineers. In most of the states and territories, it's already mandatory. In Queensland, it's mandatory already for the past 90 years. But in some states, it's quite new. So Engineers Australia is doing events to share the knowledge how you can become a registered engineer in the states of the Australian states and territories. So in this particular one, it's for free. Member is free, student member is free, and a non-member is free. So, and you get 1 hour maximum CPD hours. So for example, if you register to attend this webinar, you can put this one in your CPD report. And it talks about what they cover, etc., etc., etc. So in Engineers Australia here I think in the resources, you actually, I think professional standards, library, yeah, you have lots and lots of publications that you can download. Some of them you gotta pay, others you don't need to pay. But it's important for you to have a look and read those ones or attend those webinars and include in your CPD report. Okay? And it's just one page. So you're probably going to have between 20 and 25 lines of your CPD events. If you graduated just now, Engineers Australia will understand that you just graduated and you don't really have a lot of CPD because you just graduated. So you can include just a few of CPD events. If you graduated like 10 years ago, it's important that you put some CPD events that are a bit older to show Engineers Australia that every year or every 2 years, you did something to keep yourself up to date with the engineering profession. Don't put just something nowadays, actual. Try to share and put some of the CPD events that are a little bit older as well. Okay? And as I keep saying, that's my recipe for CDR success. 80% planning and organization skills and 20% writing skills. So if you put in the comments, if I ask you, are you a good writer? You can answer yes, no, or maybe. So I will participate as well and I'll put my answer. I am not a good report writer. Naturally, I'm not a good report writer. If I have to write a report, I have to do a lot of work, a lot of preparation. I need to, as I keep saying, I need to plan myself. I need to organize a lot of information. I need to put in practice the technique that I came up with so I can write good reports, reports that make sense. So, because it's not natural for me. I'm an engineer. I probably know just few engineers that they're really good report writers. It's natural for them. But for me, it's not natural. I need really to put a lot of effort to write good reports. In the end, I ended up writing good reports, but it doesn't come naturally. And to write good reports, if you're not a natural good report writer, you will see it's all about 80% planning and organizational skills and 20% actual writing skills. So people writing here, Carlos saying no, Jonathan maybe, Gabriel saying he's a good writer, João Pedro not a good writer. Yeah, and it's individual people will know, and Mel saying not a good writer. And for those that are good writer, yeah, lucky you, because it's certainly an advantage to be a good writer. Yeah, Blessing saying I'm a good writer. Good. So you just need to focus on the planning and organizational skills. Career episodes. So we saw about the CPD, the first report. The second type of report are the career episodes. And a career episode is an account of your engineering education and or work experience. And each career episode, you need to write 3 in total, must focus on a different period or aspects of your engineering activity. And each episode should focus on how you apply your engineering knowledge and skills in the nominated occupation. And that's very important. When they say nominated occupation, if you're a civil engineer and you're going to apply as a civil engineer, obviously your nominated occupation is civil engineer. But sometimes, let's say a production engineer decides to apply as industrial engineer because their experience, they're more comfortable, or their focus was on industrial engineering. So in that case, if they're going to apply under the industrial engineer occupation, they need to make sure that they direct their career episode focusing on the occupation definition of industrial engineer, not as production engineer. It's slightly different. You need to focus on industrial engineer occupation definition. And the career episode is a narrative of the past. Migration skills assessment is pretty much Engineers Australia saying your qualification that you got in your country is equivalent to the same qualification here in Australia. That's what they're saying. Your university knowledge, your university, your academic competency is equivalent to a similar course degree here in Australia. That's it. That's why they don't require, Engineers Australia doesn't require work experience. If you never had work experience, that's okay. Because Engineers Australia doesn't require work experience. You can use just your academic engineering experience. If you have work experience, you can use just your work experience, or you can even use both. You can use both engineering academic experience or engineering work experience. It's also important to use the verbs always in the past to demonstrate you have done it already. Because the career episode is a narrative of the past. And the name of the process, competency demonstration report, the name already says competency. They want to make sure that you can prove that you're competent. And when are we considered to be competent? We are considered to be competent when we have, in Australia, and I'm a qualified trainer and assessor here in Australia. I've done my Cert 4 in training and assessment. They consider someone to be competent in Australia when you have the theoretical knowledge, when you applied that theoretical knowledge, and when your supervisor confirms that you've done that. So 3 pieces of evidence: the theoretical knowledge, which is your degree, your practical experience, that you've done it, and your supervisor confirming that you've done it. So when you have those 3 pieces of evidence, the assessor can be satisfied that you are competent. And we're just competent when we have done the task. If you know the process, but you never done it, you're not competent. For example, I love Porsches, and I watch videos about, the manufacturing process and everything else, and I watch them all the time, and I watch one particular video like 20 times. And I know step by step how they do it, how they assembled, and everything else. Does it mean that I'm competent in putting together a Porsche? No, because I never done it. I have the theory, I know how to do it, but I never done it. So I'm not competent. So you're just competent when you've done it with the application of your theoretical knowledge, and your supervisor or your manager can confirm that you actually did it. So that's why it's important that the verbs should be always in the past. And use always in the first person. The skills assessment is about you. It's not about the team. It's not about we. It's not about us. It's not about the group. The skills assessment is 100% about you. So you always got to use your report in the first person, which means I. I did it. I delivered. I designed. I calculated. I analyzed. I concluded. Everything is about I. So, and I know that we're not used to, because we always talk about we, the team is good, we, us, etc. But for the skills assessment, it's all about you. So you got to use I all the time. Hey, Jerson, but the engineering activity that I'm going to use, it was a team that delivered the project. And I cannot say that I did everything. Of course, you can't. If you were part of a team, you can describe in the beginning that the project or the engineering activity was a team effort. But every time that you say the team or we, you need to be very clear what was your personal role in that activity. So when you say that the team delivered this engineering activity, however, my personal contribution was that I did this and I did that, etc., etc. Okay. And as I said, the work experience is not it's not necessary. In the career episodes, you may base your career episode upon an engineering task undertaken as part of your educational program, a project you have worked on or are currently working on, a specific position that you occupied or currently occupy. In this case, a career episode must comprise more than a mere duty statement, or a particular engineering problem that you were required to solve. Okay, so it's really important that it's got to be an engineering task, and preferably a little bit more complex engineering task. Why does it need to be complex, Jerson? You will see that when you talk about the summary statement, you will need to address 16 competencies. 16 competencies. And if you choose an engineering task that was not really complex, was a bit simple, you're probably not going to be able to demonstrate all the 16 competencies. So when you think about your tasks or your experience that you're going to use in your career episode, think about a little bit more complex engineering activity. The career episodes must be based on work conducted personally by you and must be written entirely in your own words. Presenting work conducted by others as your own and or using other people's words, templates, career episodes, online sources is considered plagiarism and is a violation of engineers. Just a second. Some people wanting to. It's considered plagiarism and is violation of Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. This carries significant penalties, including the rejection of the application, imposition of up to 36 months of ban, and or reporting of your details to the Department of Home Affairs for further investigation and action. Remember, Engineers Australia is acting on behalf of the Department of Home Affairs as the authorized assessing authority on behalf of the Department of Home Affairs. So if you end up getting caught by plagiarism, Engineers Australia will probably send your details to the Department of Home Affairs because you did some unethical behavior. And as I said yesterday, potentially it could impact even in your character assessment. In that case, for example, that you write your career episode, you write your CPD, you write your summary statement, and you don't really get the result that you want. And sometimes the result that you wanted is not just when Engineers Australia, they don't approve your application. Sometimes you apply in the category of a professional engineer, and they approve you or they offer you to approve as a technologist or a technician because of the level of the experience that you ended up describing. And you didn't want that. You wanted professional engineer category. So you can ask for a revision, which is going to be conducted by an independent assessor. It may take up to 8 weeks to get the revision completed. And the time frame is within 3 months of receiving your first assessment outcome. So if you wait too much, if you go past the 3 months, you will miss the boat. And that's going to cost you $346.50. That's including GST until the end of this financial year. If you apply for your internal review and you still get a negative outcome, you can ask for a formal appeal. Until the end of this financial year, it's going to cost you $660, including GST. And that appeal is going to be conducted by an independent review panel. The time frame is within 6 months of receiving the assessment outcome. You can just apply for the formal appeal once you have the internal review done. May take up to 3 months or more until you get the final result of your appeal. And the outcome of an appeal is final in terms of administrative appeals. I think you can then engage a lawyer or a solicitor. You can go to court and go to the judicial system. But in terms of administrative process within Engineers Australia, the appeal is final. So the CPD is a first report. Your career episodes is your second type of report. And one thing that I forgot about the career episodes. Number of words, and 500 words for each career episode. Every time that I talk to my students and to other engineers, I always advise them to try to write close to the maximum number of words, 2,500 words. Especially if you're not very good writer, because you got to be really objective to cover all the 16 competencies in 1,000 words. But if you write 2,500 words, you have more opportunities to demonstrate the competencies, not just once, but twice, 3, 4, 5 times each competency. So that's what I advise my students, to always write close to the 2,500 words for each of the career episodes. And when you're writing your career episodes, it's important that you number each paragraph. You will need that numbering. So when you complete your summary statement, you need to identify the location of that competency in your career episode. So let's say, for example, you're going to write 3 career episodes. Career episode number 1, paragraph number 1 is going to be 1.1. The first number is the number of the career episode, and the second number is going to be the paragraph number. Paragraph number 3, 1.3, and so on. And you go until, I don't know, 25 paragraphs, 1.25. So you have all the paragraphs numbered. Don't try to make too long paragraphs, nor too short. Each paragraph probably between 50, 70 words. Career episode number 2, again, 2.1 for the first paragraph, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, etc. There's no dot points without paragraph numbers. Don't do that. No asterisks. So try to compile 3.3, etc., etc., etc. You will need that numbering in your summary statement. So the summary statement is your third type of report that you will write. It will have, and I'll show you the example here, the 16 competencies to be addressed that is required by Engineers Australia. For each competency, you need to number the paragraphs in the career episode. So competency PE 1.1, you're going to say, in career episode number 1, I demonstrated this competency when I did this, 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 and that. And then you will put the paragraph number, 1.1, 1.5, 1.10, whatever. In career episode number 2, I demonstrated this competency when I did this, 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 and that. And then the numbering, 2.3, 2.11, 2.20. In career episode number 3, I demonstrated this competency when I did this, this, and that. And then 3.2, 3.6, 3.7, whatever. So for each of those career episodes, you describe one And that's why you use the paragraph numbers. So when the assessor is reading that competency, they will read why you believe you achieved that competency, and they will see the numbers. So they go back to the career episodes, they read the paragraph, and they check if that paragraph relates to the competency that you're trying to address. So list the reasons why you believe you have demonstrated that competency. Usually I call it in the middle column, because the left-hand column will have the competency description. The middle column, it's where you're going to write why you believe you demonstrated that competency. And the right-hand column is going to be your numbering website. So that's the only template that you are allowed to use without having plagiarism, because it's just a blank template. It's got all the competencies, and it's got the middle column, it's got the right-hand column as well. And how many summary statements you need to do? Just one. One summary statement, including all 3 career episodes. So you don't need to do one summary statement for each career episode. You just do one summary statement, and you include the reasons why and the numbering of the 3 career episodes. So the summary statement is actually quite a long document. If you think that you have 16 competencies, in the middle column is where you're going to write why you believe you achieved that competency. Just in the middle column, you will have probably between 50 to 100 words in one competency. Let's say that you write in the middle column, because you're addressing the 3 career episodes. 100 words times 6, write more than 100 words in the middle column. My summary statement had about 2,000 words just in the middle column, not counting obviously the other columns. Just in the middle column, I had about 2,000 words just for the middle column. So it's quite a long document as well. So you have to write quite a lot. So just a screenshot of, that's the old model, but the competencies are still the same, but that's good to show, and I'll show you the template in the Genes Australia website. So that's in the left-hand column where you have the competencies, the description of the competencies, the middle column, a brief summary of how you have applied the element, and the right-hand column, the paragraph number in the career episodes where the element is addressed. So where do you find that in the Engineers Australia website? You go to the booklet. And then you go to the categories. In the summary statement, you go to the categories here. Download and complete the summary statement template for your occupation category. Make it bigger. So if you're going to apply under the professional engineer category, so that is your summary statement template. You've got all the competencies there, the middle column, and the paragraph number. And you go there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they classified in knowledge areas. So PE1 is knowledge and skill base. PE2 is engineering application ability. And PE3, professional and personal attributes. You will see that there are some soft skills, competencies, not just hard skills, just not technical competencies, but there are majority are technical competencies, but there are some soft skills competencies. For example, especially in PE3, when you talk about 3.2, effective oral and written communication in professional and lay domains. So this is pretty much your communication skills. So soft skills, you can use your soft skills in here as well. But you see that the others, they are, most of them, they are technical and hard skills. So the summary statement, in my view, is one of the most difficult documents or reports in your CDR process. Why is that? Because you've got a list of competencies and you need to understand what those competencies they talk about. You need to then match your experience to each competency. And that's the difficulty. How do I know that this experience or this example matches with that competency? Some of them are easy. For example, communication skills, they're easy. When you write reports, when you do a presentation, when you deliver a training, you can use that in your communication skills. But some of the technical competencies, they're quite difficult to understand, and you ended up mixing up. You put a particular experience in the wrong competency, and the assessor is not going to probably consider that. Okay? So pay attention. Don't undervalue. Don't subestimate the summary statement. It's really, really a difficult document. Okay, so let's do some knowledge check, just to make sure that you didn't sleep during the workshop and you paid attention. True or false? And I'll ask you to write in the comments, if you could, please. I need to attach copies of my course certificates in my CPD report. I don't think I mentioned that, but you don't need to attach certificates in your CPD report. Engineers Australia actually asks you that you don't send copies of your certificates. But it's important that you have them. Don't just make up your CPD events. Engineers Australia may audit your CPD. For example, in my professional career, I've been audited by Engineers Australia many times of my CPD, and I had to collect all my certificates and the calendar entries and attendance of webinars, etc., and send to Engineers Australia. I don't know if they will do this to you, but it's always good, whatever you put in your CPD, make sure that you have some proof of it. Because if you end up making up, obviously lying is not good for your validation process. So in this case, I need to attach copies of my course certificates in my CPD report. It's a false answer. Knowledge check number 6. What's Gerson's success recipe in the validation process? Write in the comments. 1, having 100% writing skills. 2, having 50% planning and 50% writing. 3, having 100% planning. Or 4, having 80% planning and 20% writing. What do you reckon? Let's see if you didn't sleep when I mentioned it. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Good. And there are some questions in the chat. I'll visit the questions very, very soon. Okay. Yeah, well done. Yeah, 4 is my recipe, having 80% planning and 20% writing. And that's why I say that you need to read the booklet very well and 5, 10 times. A lot of people, they read the booklet once. Some people, they don't even read the booklet. They start writing straight away. They're writing whatever. They don't know what to write. They don't know why they're writing, and they don't know how detailed they need to write. But they start writing, and once they understand about the process, they think, oh, I've done something wrong. They delete and they got to start everything again. So writing, even for my students, I will explain tomorrow that my mentoring program, I've got a step-by-step online training course. And I ask them, you need to watch the 25 modules, everything. Don't start writing before you finish the 25 modules. You need to watch all the classes, have all your annotations, all your notes, and after that, you start writing. Because if you start writing before, you're probably going to waste your time, waste your effort. You have to scrap that and start everything again. So 80% planning, 20% writing. Knowledge check 7. Do I need work experience to validate my engineering qualification in Australia? Answer number 1, yes, minimum of 1 year. Answer number 2, yes, without minimum period. Or answer number 3, no, you can use just your academic engineering experience if you want to. So 1, 2, or 3, what do you reckon? 3, 3. 3, 3, 3. Yes, you're not sleeping. You're paying attention. No, you don't need work experience. You can, even if you have work experience, but if it's not relevant according to the occupation definition, you can use just your work experience. I have one student, she graduated in 2003, and because her experience in Brazil wasn't really relevant to the occupation, she ended up going back to her academic experience, and she just used the academic experience to validate her qualification, even though she had like 15 years of experience, working experience. Knowledge check number 8. Which of the following should you avoid writing in your career episodes? Answer number 1. I calculated the structural load, whatever. Answer number 2. I designed the sediment basin, usually for environmental engineers. Answer number 3. We carried out machine simulation in the test bench. So which 1, 2, or 3 you should avoid writing in your career episode? Again, 3, 3, 3. Yep. Remember, the we is not good. Don't use we. Us. If you use we, maybe after that we carried out a machine simulation in the test bench, and my personal contribution to the test was that I organized this and I calculated that, I arranged this. You can use we, but you need to do what you did personally in that particular engineering activity. Knowledge check 9. True or false? It is mandatory to address all 16 competencies in each of the career episodes. I didn't say that, I didn't mention that, but I want to hear what you think. Is it mandatory to address all 16 competencies in each of the career episodes? What do you reckon? False, false, true? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? The booklet doesn't say anything. The booklet doesn't say that's mandatory. In fact, it's probably not mandatory to write all 16 competencies in each of the 3 career episodes. What I teach my students is how they can cover all 16 competencies in all 3 career episodes. Why is that? Because I want to make sure that my students, when they write their career episodes, their application is very strong and very solid. So there's no room for questions. And that's the reason why of the 40 students that already applied to the validation process, everybody, all 40 students, they've been approved. So because they really, really can demonstrate all 16 competencies several times, one after another. So there's no doubt for the assessor that they haven't addressed that competency. But it's not mandatory. If you don't really have in one particular experience one or that competency, that's fine. You're not going to fail that as long as in the other career episode you can demonstrate very stronger that particular competency. And you're almost there. We covered already the different pathways, the 6 steps of the CDR process. You know all the documentation that you need to provide. You know the scores that you need to take in your English test. You know how to write your reference letter. So you can actually write a draft of your reference letter and send to the company, and the company can actually put in the letterhead for you. You know what is a CPD, what type of event you can use in your CPD report. You know about the career episodes, what sort of experiences you can use in your career episodes, why is important to number the career episodes, minimum words, maximum words, and you know about the summary statement, how you can do your summary statement, what is the competency, what you need to write in your middle column, and what you need to write in your right-hand column in the numbering. So you're almost there. But tomorrow, in our last live session, I'm going to give you lots and lots of hints and tips for a successful CDR application. When you read the booklet, you can read everything, but the booklet is not going to tell you everything. I've already analyzed lots and lots of career episodes. I've seen many, many career episodes, and I compiled lots and lots of hints and tips for you to improve your CPD, for you to improve your career episode, and for you to improve your summary statement. So tomorrow I'm going to share some of those with you. And then after tomorrow, you will be ready to start planning and preparing your CDR application. And once you plan, organize, understand about everything, you can start writing your reports. And if you end up using the hints and tips that I'm going to give you guys tomorrow, hopefully it will make your life much, much easier. Okay? So some of the questions here in the chat. Let me have a look since the beginning. I'm a little bit not good in speaking, but slightly confident in writing. That's good. Sorry, Ray, there's no snacks for attending. Sorry, no free meal as well. Sorry. Jonathan asks, what if I accept the initial assessment as a technician? Can I apply later for the professional engineer? Yes, you can, Jonathan. And that happens, especially if you, I also advise you to consult a migration agent. and you will probably spend $200-300 with a consultation with a migration agent. But it's important for you to have a migration plan, have your options, because a migration agent can say, yes, you can accept as a technician because for your migration process, it's not going to make a lot of difference. But sometimes the only option for you is professional engineer. In that case, maybe it's worthwhile you ask for a review. But you can apply if you accept to be validated as technician. Later on, if you want to be validated as professional engineer, that's okay. You will need to apply again. You will need to write new career episodes. You need to do a new process. But as I usually say, if accepting as a technician will get you to a permanent resident quicker, that's it. Once you become a permanent resident, you probably can get a job as an engineer, even if you're validated as technician. And then you can get experience, and then you can validate yourself as a professional engineer. The other question, then we need to do the summary statement first. I didn't understand this part. No, the summary statement is pretty much the last document. You do your CPD, you need to read and understand about the summary statement. I didn't say that you need to do the summary statement first, but you need to understand all those competencies. You need to read those competencies description, understand every single word, what you're going to, the examples that are matching with those competencies. Take notes, organize yourself, plan, and once you have that, you then start writing your career episodes. Because when you write your career episode, you write your career episode knowing already what examples you're going to use to address the competencies. And that's how I teach my students. When my students, they write their career episodes, they write every single paragraph knowing already which competency they're going to address. That makes the life much, much easier. Carlos asking, if I'm a permanent resident and a civil engineering from my home country, I need to do the English test to do the process. If you're already a permanent resident, there is a similar process of the skills assessment, which is called stage 1 of membership eligibility. You still need to write your CPD, your career episodes, your summary statement, but there are some exemptions for the English test. So it's always good to consult with Engineers Australia about your English test requirements as well. Migration Skills Assessment, MSA, has a migration purpose. The stage 1 of membership eligibility doesn't have a migration purpose. So that's the only difference between Migration Skills Assessment, MSA, and stage 1 of membership eligibility. Blessing, does a positive qualification assessment translate to a positive employment assessment? No. The RSCA, the Relevant Skilled Employment Assessment, is a separate process for employment, your work experience, separate process. The work experience, you will probably try to validate so you can get more points in your migration process. The validation of your qualification is to get your letter so you can have your skills assessed. Jonathan, need to address all 16, but can be in all 3 episodes. Yeah, that's correct. And Gerardo, can an engineering teaching job be used as one career episode? Yeah, the teaching job is a bit, you got to be careful. If you're a teacher, you're an engineer, and let's say that you put together the teaching material. let's say that you're teaching reinforced concrete. If you put together the teaching material, you calculated everything, the stresses, and you dimension, you analyzed, and you design a concrete member, for example, and then you're teaching how to do it, you can use the put together part as your experience. Teaching something that somebody else did it, yeah, it can be a bit debatable because somebody else did it. You just kind of showing how it's done. But usually, obviously, you understand about it, and engineering teachers, usually they are engineers. But usually they put together the teaching material. And when they put together the teaching material, it's how you can probably demonstrate the skills of that particular activity. If he means as a college instructor, yeah, potentially, if you, as I said, if you put together the teaching material. So again, for those ones that they haven't done the post yet, I can see, I'll see here how many ended up doing the comments. There's not many comments here. So you got how many people? We got 17 people in the live session now. And I think 5 people made a comment in the run to win the free consulting. So obviously for those 5 people, it's going to be better chances for them. So if you really want to be in the run to win the 15 minutes of free consulting, just go to the post. Very simple. Like the post, follow my profile, write in the comments, I will become an engineer in Australia. Mark another engineer in the comments. Oh, Jers, I don't know an engineer. Mark somebody else that perhaps knows an engineer. And you're going to be present tomorrow in live number 3 when the website picks somebody, the winner. If the winner is not in the live session, I will press the button and the website will pick another one until we can find somebody that is in the live session and have completed the challenges as well. Okay. Any other question? Oh, there's a question here. Does skill assessment has an expiration? No. Once you get validated, you get validated. You get the outcome letter. What sometimes expires for the immigration department is the letter. If the letter is, I think, more than 2 or 3 years old, they will ask you an updated letter. It doesn't mean that you need to do everything again. You just go to the Engineers Australia, you write them, and you ask for an updated letter. They will charge you some administrative fee. I don't know how much is that. I think it's going to be about $100, $200, and they will give you a new letter. And what are we going to see tomorrow in live number 3? Rafael Sobreira, he's from B2A Migration, and he's going to talk to us about migration options for engineers. And then I'm going to talk to you about hints and tips to prepare successful CDR application. And I'm going to be doing the giveaway for the 15 minutes of free consulting tomorrow. And also I'm going to explain how my mentoring group works. I'm going to be opening a new mentoring group tomorrow. I don't open all the time. I think the last time that I opened a new group was in March. So tomorrow I'm going to be opening a new group. A lot of people, they've been asking when I'm going to open a new group. And tomorrow I'm going to explain how it works. the discount that I'm going to give, the bonuses that are going to be included, and how the warranty works as well. All right, so if we don't really have any more questions, I would like to thank you very much. 1 hour and a half with me listening to my horrible voice. Thank you very much, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you learned something tonight. I hope that I can keep helping you guys in your journey to become an engineer in Australia, be my professional colleague as an engineer here in Australia. And I hope to see you all. Let's see, I have asked before. Yeah, and then I'll take a screenshot so I can put in the group. For those ones that were happy to turn on the camera, say hello. Yeah, we'll take a screenshot there. Sorry, I'll take another one. Just a second. Hello. Yeah, great. Good. Well, thank you very much, guys. And I hope to see you all tomorrow again, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time. Thank you, and bye-bye.